What's up, my fellow crafties? Today we will be making another Dollar Tree DIY. We will be making wood plank coasters as seen here. Those are so cute. I really liked how these turned out. Some of them, most of them. But before we get started, here is a list of all the things you will need if you are going to make today's craft. And before we get started, I just wanted to check in with everybody. How's your week been going? And did you check last week's video? If you haven't, please make sure you go ahead and do that. Comment, like it, subscribe, share. It really helps me out, and I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. This is the list of the colors that I used today. As always, you do not have to use these colors. These are just the colors that I chose because I was feeling a bit beachy, summer vibe. So let's get started. Here you will see the wood crate that I used. If you watched my last video, you will see it's the same crate that I used in that craft. And these were a new product that I found at Dollar Tree. These are 6 wood planks. And they do come 6 to a pack. You don't have to use these, but these are the ones that I chose. And then for my decorations, I chose these stencils. And these letters are just the names of my family. So I'm going to use this for my home and keep these safe in my home. So now that we have everything that we need, let's get started. Ooh, that was a pretty transition. Okay, first, all I'm doing is painting my crate. Now we're not going to do the extreme like we did on the last craft, painting the inside, the outside, sides, ups. No, we're just going to paint the breaks, the natural breaks or lines within the crate. And I'm just painting it the colors you see there. First that pale blue and then the cloudless blue. And then as you see me get to this last color, the Laguna color, that deep turquoise, that very pretty turquoise, one of my favorite colors, you'll see that I started mixing some of that cloudless in, and that's because when I started painting it, I noticed that the color was too bold for me. So I wanted to soften it a little bit just by adding that really, really light blue. And it did the trick. Moving on. Okay, these are the coasters, and as you see, they are as big as my hand, and I have a very chunky little fat hand. But they still fit inside the crate. Here I am just putting on some painter's tape, marking off spaces that I don't want paint on. You don't have to do this. You can paint them all solid colors. You can free paint them. I chose to do this because I had an idea in mind. It didn't really work out as planned, but I still like the end results. And again, this is just me messing around with this tape. I had no idea what I was doing, and I unfortunately chose to record this video in the daytime. I usually record my videos at night, so I had a little helper trying to sneak in the video, so I had to do this as fast as possible so he wouldn't stick his little sticky fingers in my project. Alright, here I am just simply adding the paint to the project. I chose to do split paint, solid paint, whatever your heart desires. These are your projects. There are no right, wrong ways to do this. The main point is that we try to have fun. That's what crafting is about. Ignore this part right here, y'all. I promise you, I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to figure something out, but it wasn't working for me. And then you see here, I decided to get a little spicy and add some gold to the side. I'm glad I did. I like the way it turned out. And this gift here, like I was saying in the beginning, this craft is good to give as gifts, wedding gifts, birthday gifts, retirement gifts, housewarming gifts, dorm, college gifts for people who are going, starting their going to move into the dorms for the first time. I mean, coasters are a great gift, especially when you can personalize them. And you don't have to use, there are many ways you can do this particular craft. For this particular video, I chose to use these wood planks, but you can use ceramic tiles. Dollar Tree has those little mini pallets, you can use those. I might do a couple of more later on in the series, but for now, these are the ones that I chose. And I'm just finishing up here with my last bit of paint on these coasters. Now what you didn't see was me pulling off the tape and revealing some bleeding that I had through the tape, but that's to be expected if you don't have like a background color first. Here I'm just adding on some gold trim around the coasters. Originally I was going to use some of that rope I had been using in my previous crafts, but I decided to save it for something else and just do this simple little gold trim. And I'm gonna say this now, this did not turn out as perfect as my perfectionist mind wanted it to, but then again, crafts do not have to be perfect, they just have to be fun. Oh, and don't worry about the back of the coasters. I mean, one, they are backs of coasters, no one pays attention to those, but if you want, you can add those little cork backing to these, which you need a backing for them anyway, so you can add the cork backing that they have at Dollar Tree, or you can do like I did at the end of the video and add those little small furniture felt sliders on the back of them. Here you see me using my stencils. Y'all, I have the worst, well, I won't say that, hold on, we'll take that back. Some stencils give me headaches, some stencils are the easiest ever to use. These stencils, I don't know if it was the stencil themselves, or if it was the paint, or if it was the combination of the product, the paint, the stencil, whatever it was, these stencils were not giving me the easiest time today. They did not turn out the way I really wanted them to. If you have better, if you are able to use stencils easier, please let me know how. I don't have the best luck when it comes to stencils most times. Sometimes I get lucky. This was not one of those times, but it is what it is. I'm not, like I said, crafting is not about being perfect, it's about having fun. Here you'll see me trying to touch it up, make it look a little bit better, and I did this multiple times, which, by the way, let me say, if you are adding multiple layers of paint to these projects, if you're using Dollar Tree wood, please let your paint dry completely before you add the next layer, because you will weaken the integrity of the wood, and it'll start to peel and you'll get these weird scratches in it. I don't know how to explain it, but just make sure your paint is drying completely before you add a new layer. Like I said, I tried my best to touch them up and clean them up and make them look a little bit more decent, but at the end of the day, I just let it be what it was and moved on. And moving on. So here we are with my favorite little foil decorations. Sorry, I had some on my fingers. Foil decorations. Now, I'm going to pause the screen right here. And I want you guys to look at this sheet and tell me which ones you think I chose to put on these coasters. Tick tock, tick tock. And I mean, honestly, tell me which ones you would have chosen. I was so confused. I was going back and forth. There were so many possibilities. So I was at a loss. But which ones do you think that I chose, and which ones would you have chosen? Moving on. So, if you guessed Sweet Life, then you were correct. I chose to use Sweet and Life. I already had that family forever and that little house cut out from my first craft that I didn't use. It wasn't my last craft. I think it was the last craft, the DIY window. Either way, I already had that cut out, so I knew it was going to go ahead and use it. And here you see me applying it like usual, doing a little rub. Honestly, I'm doing this the hard way. They have a tool at Dollar Tree that you can use to make this little process go by a whole lot smoother. I just didn't buy it. I don't want to buy it right now. I mean, it's only $1.25, sure, but I see no need in buying it right now. My fingernails and paint brushes and none of the other tools that I use are working just fine. I will buy it in time though, because as you'll see, sometimes they don't come all the way off, so I get these little cracks and missing pieces, which to me is okay because the imperfections make it a little bit more personalized and it gives it more character to me. But if you were doing this craft to sell, you want it to be as close to perfect as possible, so of course you would use all the tools necessary for your project. See, like I said, the little imperfections, just give it some character. Because nothing in life is perfect. And here I am basically using my fingernail, just flattening it down, rubbing these things on here. And I love these foil transfers, y'all. I gotta get some more, but I want to use all the ones I have here first. And that came out so perfectly before I go buy some more. And this one did too. Oh my goodness, I love this coaster. I wish I would have had something to put in that big space in the middle, but I didn't, and it was fine, and I left it how it was. So here I am going to do the last final-ish touches to this, and that is applying Mod Podge. But I can't apply my Mod Podge without applying my glitter. So here I am making my chunky glitter oatmeal. And at first I thought I was going to apply this to the whole thing, but then I thought to myself, I have gold paint on here, gold transfers. I don't think the whole thing needs glitter. So this is just me adding some of this Mod Podge and glitter combo to just some small parts of each coaster. This Mod Podge is different from the last one. I know if you've noticed, this bottle was blue. The bottle I have been using is yellow. The blue bottle is Mod Podge that is dishwasher safe. Now typically you would use that particular Mod Podge on like glass crafts, or like if this were ceramic tiles or stuff like that. But because this particular craft will be around a lot of liquids, water, you may not necessarily put this in a dishwasher, but you may want to wipe it clean if something gets on here. I'm using the dishwasher safe Mod Podge just to help keep that paint from coming off. And you want to let this Mod Podge be on this craft or any of the other crafts you may use this particular Mod Podge on for at least, I think the bottle said 29 days before exposing it to the dishwasher or water. Like I said, I'm just applying this on just some parts of the coaster, not the whole entire thing. I wasn't gonna put it on my letters at first, but then I decided to go completely Disney with it. Just make it all magical and sparkly. I love a good sparkle, y'all, I can't lie. This is so pretty. Like, y'all have to forgive me. When I'm doing these voiceovers, I'm watching it in real time. And I'm looking at how they turned out. Even the ones that aren't quote unquote perfect in my eyes, they still turned out to be very, very pretty to me. I'm very proud of what I created. So while we are watching me paint these little pieces, I want to know what you all have been up to since we've last seen each other. Have you done any crafts? Have you been vacationing? Have you been taking it easy, enjoying life? Or have you been having some trouble? That's okay too. We all have our troubles. If you want to talk about it, I'm always here. You can send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, or you can leave a comment. I don't know, does YouTube have messages? I don't know. Or you can send me an email. And I would be happy to talk with you. I'd be happy to see what you create. I love to see what you guys create. And if you decide to create this craft, as always, please, please, please tag me wherever you post it so I can see the lovely creations. See, now this one right here, like I was saying, I wish I would have had something to put in the middle, either a big heart or just something to fill that space, but it worked itself out, I guess. Now, I can't do the coasters without doing the coaster holder. And surprisingly, I only did that middle line. I didn't do the whole thing. Well, I take that back. I did the middle line and I did the entire sides of it. There was no reason to do the sides. I just said I had extra left over and I didn't want to go to waste. So I did the sides. And moving on. Okay, so while I was letting that Mod Podge dry, I said to myself, I gotta put something on the front. I didn't know what I wanted to put on the front, but I knew I wanted to put something on the front. So I had these letters that spelled out love in that same foil transfer pack, and they were in a square, but I cut them up individually and kind of sort of lined them up along this outside of this box and just rubbed them on the front. I mean, because what is my family full of if not love? And it turned out just as I expected. Cute. I don't know if I already said this, but if you are planning to do what I did, where you partially Mod Podge some of it with like a layer of glitter or whatever, and you plan on going back to do a full cover of Mod Podge, I think the bottle said you need to wait 2 hours between each coat. I think I waited maybe an hour and a half. I ate lunch. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I told y'all I did this during the day. So I ate lunch while the first layer dried. But because my surface area wasn't really big, and it wasn't, what should I say? It wasn't thick, I guess, for lack of better words. I didn't wait that long. And remember, Mod Podge goes on white, but just like glue, it dries clear. So Don't worry about the white streaks. They disappear. I promise you it will be shiny and smooth and clear. It will look like you did absolutely nothing to it. This is a gloss finish, by the way. I don't think they have a matte finish for the dishwasher safe. I might be mistaken, but there are several different kinds of Mod Podge or sealers, so just keep that in mind when you're choosing one for your particular project. And I am adding Mod Podge to the outside just so the water or whatever liquids don't drip down and get inside those cracks. That J, it has so much more potential. But the real, I think honestly I was okay at the end with how all of these turned out, except that W. That W gave me the worst headache in the world. But it's okay. It turned out the way it was supposed to, I guess. This isn't anything that I'm giving to somebody, so I'm okay with all of its little imperfections. And this is my first time making this project, so I'm learning just as you're learning. We're learning together. And if you want me to make this again using a different material, I totally will. Just let me know in the comments. You want me to use the wood, what are they called? Wood pallets from Dollar Tree, or ceramic tiles. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, like the little tiles in the shower, you can buy individual tiles. You can buy them at Lowe's and Dollar Tree for like some cents a piece. I have done that particular craft before, a long time ago, but I'd be more than happy to do it again if you want to see. That W. I tried so many times to fix that W, so many different ways to fix that W. Nothing I did was really making me happy. But like I said, it worked out in the end, I guess. I was getting impatient at this point. Like I said, I did this during the day, so I had a little helper elf that kept trying to interfere, so I was trying to get done with this as quickly as possible. I'm thinking if not next week, the week after that will have to be a mommy and me craft. And that will be interesting, so stay tuned for that, folks. And here I am just applying that layer of Mod Podge to the crate as well. I mean, even though it won't necessarily have drinks on it or in it, just to give it that sealed look. And this paint easily scratches off, so the Mod Podge just helps to protect it from chipping and fading away. That is all. Yeah, see, I didn't wait for this to dry completely, and you'll see what happens when you don't let your paint dry completely in just a few seconds. Yes, yeah, this is how you know I got impatient. I put it directly on the craft. I was like, okay. Yep, right there. You see that smudge of paint and glitter? Yeah, that's what happens when you don't let your paint dry completely. And if you are impatient like me and you want to do crafts quickly, I would suggest keeping a fan or a hair dryer nearby when you're doing paint projects so that way you can dry them fairly quickly so you can keep moving on if you don't have the time or patience like myself to wait for them to dry. And after this, honestly, I think I was done with the project. Let's see. Yep, we are done, and this is how they turned out. They still weren't fully dry at this point, but you can see the little glitter, the little shine, the shimmer. You just stick them in here when you're done. That W really wasn't dry, so that's why I put it back. But before we put them in the crate, I mentioned earlier about the back of the coasters. This is where those cork backings come in. I didn't buy the cork backings, and I honestly didn't even buy these. Those are little felt furniture sliders that help your furniture move easier. I had several of these left over from something I was doing years ago, and somehow, for whatever reason, I decided to keep them. Luckily, I did. And you just take 4 of the small ones and you put them on the back of the coasters in the corner, and voila, this is what happens. This is how it turns out. Honestly, this craft, it doesn't take that long. Like the longest part of any craft is painting and then decorating, because you don't know what you want to do, you don't know how you want it to look, and you just start adding and doing it. It just becomes a big old thing, but it's all good, it's all fun, and this turned out great. I loved it, and I thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Bye!